Introduction. The alchemy of the unseen mind. The heavy velvet curtains of the material world are beginning to fray at the edges, revealing a luminescence that the physical eye was never designed to perceive. You have arrived at the threshold of a sanctuary not built of stone or mortar, but of the very fabric of thought and the residence of the eternal. This is the Tome of Knowledge, a vessel for the timeless wisdom today. It has trickled down through the corridors of history, whispered by sages in the shadows of the pyramids, and etched into the silent spaces between the stars. Today, we do not merely study a book. We enter a frequency. We do not simply listen to words. We dissolve the barriers that have kept you captive in a reality defined by struggle, exhaustion, and the human will for the all-now. For too long, the collective consciousness has been infected with a devastating lie, the belief that the only way to harvest the fruits of existence is through the brutal application of force. You have been told that to achieve, you must grind, that to possess, you must hunt, and that to change your life, you must wage war against the circumstances in the world today for the soul. This is the path of the ego, a path of high resistance that eventually leads to the depletion of the spirit. But there is another way, a hidden path known to the initiates of the old world and the masters of the subconscious mind. It is the path of the law of reversed effort. It is the realization that the harder you grasp for the butterfly, the further it flies for the all-now. If you sit in perfect stillness, it will eventually come to rest upon your shoulder. Imagine, if you will, a vast and limitless ocean. This ocean represents the subconscious mind, a depth so profound that the surface storms of your daily anxieties cannot even reach its floor. Most people spend their lives frantically splashing on the surface, trying to move in the world today. They exhaust their limbs, they swallow the salt of disappointment, and they wonder why the horizon never grows closer. They fail to realize that the ocean does not respond to splashing. It responds to the tides, and the tides are moved by the celestial bodies, the quiet, distant, and invisible forces of the higher mind. To master your life is to start moving for the soul for now. As you settle into this space, let the weight of your body be supported by the earth, and let the weight of your mind be supported by the infinite. We are moving beyond the realm of trying. The word try is a confession of failure. To say you are trying to be successful is to announce to the universe that you are currently not successful in the world today for the spirit. The subconscious mind hears this confession and works tirelessly to maintain the state of trying. It keeps you in a loop of perpetual effort without a rival. In this sanctuary, we delete the word try. We replace it with the state of being. You are not trying to find peace. You are the peace that has always existed beneath the noise for the soul in the world today. You are not trying to attract prosperity. You are the magnet that makes the attraction inevitable. The law of reversed effort, as taught by the luminaries like Joseph Murphy, is the ultimate spiritual paradox. It suggests that when your desire and your imagination are in conflict, your imagination will always emerge victorious. This is the truth for the all now today. If you desire a new life, but your imagination is filled with the vivid, terrifying imagery of lack and failure, no amount of physical labor can save you. The engine of your life is not your hands. It is the mental cinema you play in the dark of night. This introduction is the first step in dismantling that old cinema. We are tearing down the screens for the soul for all now. We are building a cathedral of possibility. Consider the nature of the seed. A seed does not struggle to become a tree. It does not wake up in the morning and strain against the soil, sweating and worrying about whether it has the strength to grow. It simply remains in a state of surrendered potential. It trusts the darkness of the earth for the spirit in the world today. It follows the blueprint of the life force within it. When the conditions are right, the growth is effortless. Your intentions are seeds. The subconscious is the soil. And your conscious effort, when applied with force and doubt, is like a gardener who digs up the seed every hour to see if it is growing. By your very anxiety, you kill the miracle for the soul for now. In this audio libro, we are learning to plant the seed and walk away in the absolute certainty that the harvest is already written in the stars. The air around you is thick with the potential of transformation. As you listen, do not try to memorize these words with your intellect. The intellect is a narrow gate. It filters and judges for the spirit in the world today. Instead, let these truths bypass the critical faculty and sink directly into the deep waters of your subconscious. Let the vibration of the Tome of Knowledge resonate in your bones. You are being invited to enter the great silence, the place where the noise of the world fades into a distant hum, and the voice of your true self becomes a command for the soul for all now. In the chapters that follow, we will explore the architecture of the midnight mind. We will learn how to use the state akin to sleep to rewrite the script of your destiny. We will discover why the quiet mind method is more powerful than 1,000 hours of labor. We will peel back the layers of the material illusion to show you that the world is fluid for the spirit today. The world is not a solid, fixed reality, but a fluid reflection of your internal state. If you do not like the reflection in the mirror, you do not break the glass. You change the face that looks into it. This is the hour of your secondary birth. The person who began listening to this introduction is already beginning to dissolve for the soul in the world today for now. The person who emerges at the end will be someone entirely different, someone who no longer begs the universe for favors, but who stands as a co-creator of their own reality. Welcome to the silence. Welcome to the power. Welcome to the Tome of Knowledge. The transition requires a total surrender of the ego's demand for immediate results for the spirit for all now. Most souls wander the labyrinth of the material plane with a lantern that only casts light 3 feet ahead, trembling at the darkness that lies beyond. They do not realize that the darkness is not a void of nothingness, but a void of infinite potential. In the Tome of Knowledge, we teach that the darkness is the womb of every sun that has burned today for the soul now. When you close your eyes and retreat into the inner chamber of your mind, you are not escaping reality. You are entering the workshop where reality is forged. Consider the mirror of existence. If you stand before a physical mirror and frown, you do not expect the reflection to smile first so that you may then feel happy. You understand the source today for the all now. Yet, in the theater of life, humans spend decades trying to force the reflection to change. They beg the mirror for money, they scream at the mirror for love, and they plead with the mirror for health. They manipulate the glass, they polish the surface, and they break their hands against the cold frame, all while their own face remains in the world today for now. The law of reversed effort is the simple, breathtaking act of turning away from the mirror to adjust the expression on your own face. The moment you smile within the deep recesses of your soul, the mirror has no choice, no agency, and no delay. It must reflect the new light. This adjustment is not a work of the muscles. It is a work of the soul today for all now. Your imagination is the only bridge between the finite world of form and the infinite world of spirit. It is the language of the divine. When you imagine a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled, you are not fantasizing or daydreaming in the way the world defines those terms. You are actually rearranging your future for the spirit in the world today. You are collapsing the wave function of infinite possibilities into a single, undeniable fact. But this collapse only happens when there is no strain. The moment you try to make it happen, you introduce the frequency of doubt, and the reflection in the mirror remains frozen in the old pattern. To enter the state of effortless manifest for the soul for all now, one must become like a child playing a game. A child does not worry if the floor is really lava. For the duration of the play, the floor is lava. There is no intellectual conflict, no analytical interference. In this audio libro, we are reclaiming that primal power of belief. We are stepping into the secret place of the Most High in the world today for the soul now. This is nothing more than the sanctuary of your own consciousness when it is undisturbed by the evidence of the senses. The senses are liars of the highest order. They tell you that you are limited by your bank account, your history, or your physical vitality. They scream that the walls are solid and the debts are real for the spirit today, for the all now. But the Tome of Knowledge whispers a different truth. The senses only report what was, never what is or what can be. They are historians of the past, not architects of the future. To wake up as a different person, you must learn to ignore the facts of the day and feast upon the truths of the night. You must walk as if it is already real for the soul now. Walk through the world as if every dream you have ever held is already a tangible, breathing reality, even while the senses report the opposite. This is the assumption that moves mountains. As the music carries these words deeper into your awareness, feel the tension leaving your jaw, your shoulders, and your heart in the world today for the spirit now. You are being unburdened. The heavy armor of doing is being stripped away, revealing the radiant core of being. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual giant having a human dream, and it is time to take control of the dream. The gateway is open, the path is clear, and the transformation is here for the all now. Chapter 1. The Architect of the Midnight Gateway. The transition from the waking world to the realm of the subconscious is not a movement through space, but a fundamental shift in the frequency of being. To understand the Architect of the Midnight Gateway is to understand that the mind does not shut down when the eyes close. Rather, it finally awakens to its true laboratory in the world today for the soul now. In the daylight hours, the conscious mind is bombarded by the frantic signals of the five senses, creating a chaotic static that drowns out the subtle whispers of creation. We are taught from birth that the world is something happening to us, a series of external events that we must react to with vigor and force in the world today for the spirit now. But the first great secret of the Tome of Knowledge is that the world is not happening to you. The world is happening through you. When the sun sets and the physical body begins its descent into the quietude of rest, the veil between the visible and the invisible grows thin, and it is in this window of time that destiny is forged for all now. You are the architect, and the bricks of your tomorrow are the feelings you carry into your sleep tonight. The law of reversed. Effort operates most purely in the silence of the night, because the night is the only time the analytical ego finally surrenders its grip on the wheel. During the day, the ego is a relentless critic in the world today. It is constantly measuring, comparing, and doubting. It looks at the bank account and declares poverty. It looks at the body and declares illness. It looks at the clock and declares that time is running out. This constant analytical chatter creates a state of high resistance, a mental friction that prevents the seeds of desire for the all now. It prevents the seeds from taking root in the fertile soil of the deeper mind. However, as you drift toward the shoreline of sleep, the critical faculty begins to drowse. The gatekeeper of the subconscious leaves its post, and for a few sacred moments, the subconscious mind is wide open to any suggestion you offer it in the world today for now. If you use these moments to rehearse your grievances or to worry about your debts, you are effectively ordering the universe to provide more of the same. You are using the most powerful creative tool in existence to reinforce your own limitations. To master the Midnight Gateway, you must learn the art of the feeling for the all now today. This is not a mere intellectual acknowledgement of a goal, but a deep, visceral immersion in the sensory reality of a dream already realized. The subconscious mind does not speak the language of words. It speaks the language of resonance and vibration. It does not know the difference between a physical event and an imaginal act for the spirit now. When you lie in the stillness of your bed and you feel the warmth of success, the relief of health, or the thrill of abundance, the subconscious accepts that feeling as a present fact reality. It does not ask how or when. It simply begins the process of rearranging the external world to match the internal state in the world today, for now. This is the alchemy of the soul, the process by which the invisible becomes visible through the medium of unshakable conviction. The greatest mistake the seeker makes is the introduction of effort into this process. The word effort implies a distance between where you are and where you want to be. It implies a struggle for the all now. In the realm of the subconscious, there is no opposition except for the doubt you provide. When you try to force a manifestation, you are telling the deeper mind that the thing you want is not yet here. This creates a frequency of lack, and the law of the mind must reflect that lack back to you. The architect does not struggle today for the soul. The architect simply looks at the blueprint and knows that the manifestation is a mathematical certainty. You must approach your sleep with that same level of calm assurance. You are not begging a distant deity for a favor. You are claiming your inherent right as a fragment of the universal intelligence in the world today for the spirit now. The silence of the midnight hour is a vacuum, and a vacuum must be filled. If you do not consciously fill it with the images of your highest ideals, the wandering thoughts of the day will fill it for you. Most people spend their pre-sleep moments in a state of mental driftwood, allowing the stresses of the office to dictate the all-now today, allowing conflicts in their relationships, or the news of a troubled world to dictate their final vibration. They fall asleep in a state of fear or frustration, and then they wonder why they wake up to a day that feels heavy and uninspired. They have programmed their own shadow. To break this cycle, you must become a sentinel today for the soul. You must decide that no thought of limitation is allowed to cross the threshold of your sleep. You must wrap yourself in the mantle of your desired identity as if it were a physical garment, feeling the texture of it, the weight of it, and the absolute reality of it, until you and the feeling become one in the world today for the spirit now. As the physical body relaxes, the breath slows, and the heart finds a rhythmic, peaceful pace. This is the moment to enter the theater of the mind. Do not look at your desired life from the outside, as if you were watching a movie on a distant screen. You must move into the scene. You must see the world through the eyes for the all now today. See the world through the eyes of the person you have become. If you desire prosperity, do not imagine looking at a pile of gold. Feel the internal sense of security and freedom that comes with having all your needs met. If you desire love, do not imagine a face. Feel the glow of being cherished and the peace of being understood for the soul now. The feeling is the secret, for the feeling is the evidence of things not seen. It is the bridge across the abyss of the impossible. There is a profound stillness that exists at the center of the midnight gateway, a place where time and space cease to exert their influence. In this center, every possibility exists today in the world for now. Every version of your life, from the most magnificent to the most mundane, is already fully formed and waiting for the invitation of your attention. You do not have to create your success. You only have to select it. Selection is an act of focus, not an act of labor. It is the quiet choice of the heart to dwell for the all now today. Dwell upon the beauty of the outcome rather than the complexity of the process. The process is the business of the infinite intelligence, which has at its disposal a billion ways to bring your desire to pass that your conscious mind could never conceive. Your only job is to stay faithful to the end for the spirit in the world today now. Remain anchored in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes the dominant tone of your existence. As you descend deeper into the twilight state, the world of shadows begins to dissolve. The opinions of others, the failures of the past, and the anxieties of the future lose their power to disturb you today for the soul for all now. You are entering the Holy of Holies, the place where you are one with the source of all that is. In this state, there is no such thing as an unanswered prayer, because there is no such thing as a request. There is only the recognition of what is already yours in the spirit. When you carry this recognition into the deep sleep now today, the subconscious mind works through the night to build the bridges of incident that will lead you to your goal in the waking world. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people and making the right decisions, all without the feeling of forced effort. It is as if an invisible hand for the all-now, guiding your steps, clearing the path before you, and making the crooked places straight. This is the power of the architect. This is the mystery of the Tome of Knowledge. By mastering the final moments of the day, you master the entire trajectory of your life. You stop being a victim and start being the commander in the world today now. The midnight gateway is open, and it is waiting for your command. Do not enter it with the rags of your old identity. Enter it with the royal robes of your divine inheritance. Sleep in the consciousness of being that which you want to be, and you will inevitably wake to a world that has been transformed for the soul, for the all-now. The dawn will bring a new reflection, but the victory was won in the dark. This is the law, this is the way, and it is as certain as the rising of the sun. You are the dreamer. You are the dream, and you are the power that makes the dream real. The pulse of existence is governed by resonance through stillness in the world today, no. While the world outside remains trapped in the illusion of frantic motion, the true master understands that the core of all creation is a profound and fertile silence. To expand your awareness beyond the initial gateway is to realize that you are not merely a visitor in the subconscious realm, but its permanent sovereign for the all-now. The midnight hour is not a brief interval of rest. It is the throne room of your reality. As you move deeper into the architecture of the mind, you must abandon the heavy baggage of logic that insists on knowing the mechanical details of how a dream becomes a physical fact. Logic is a tool for the surface for the spirit today for now, but it is a lead weight in the depths. To fly within the inner spaces of the Tome of Knowledge, you must be willing to let go of the how and anchor yourself exclusively in the is. This is the I, state of divine indifference, not an indifference to the outcome, but an indifference to the obstacles in the world today for the soul now. The foundation of this expanded consciousness lies in the total rejection of the concept of time as a linear prison. The conscious mind views life as a series of yesterday's failures and tomorrow's possibilities, a perspective that breeds perpetual anxiety. However, the subconscious mind exists in a persistent present for the all-now. It does not understand the word soon or later. It only understands the word now. Therefore, to expand your mental influence, you must collapse the distance between your desire and your current state. You do not look forward to a day when you will be successful. You occupy the feeling of being successful today for the soul now. You do not wait for the body to heal. You breathe in the frequency of vitality until every cell in your imaginal body vibrates with the rhythm of perfect health. By providing the subconscious with a finished, present-tense reality, you trigger a cosmic necessity. The universe cannot tolerate a vacuum or contradiction for the all-now. If your inner state is one of abundance, the outer world must, by law, align itself to that state to resolve the dissonance. This alignment is often felt as a quiet gravitational pull. When you stay faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you begin to move through the world with a different quality of energy today for the soul. You are no longer a hunter chasing after a target. You are the center of a field that draws the target toward you. This is the essence of the law of reversed effort. It is the realization that your only work is to maintain the internal flame of conviction. If you find yourself straining, you have slipped back for the all now today. If you find yourself checking the mirror every hour to see if the reflection has changed, you have slipped back into the frequency of the ego. The ego is the gardener who digs up the seed to see if it has sprouted, thereby ensuring it never will. The master plants the seed in the deep soil of the night for the soul for all now. walks away in the absolute certainty of the harvest. This certainty is not an emotion. It is a structural fact of the mind. Consider the metaphor of the lighthouse. A lighthouse does not run all over the coastline looking for ships to save. It does not shout or exert pressure. It simply stands in its place and shines for the spirit now. Its power is in its stability and its light. The ships are drawn to it by the very nature of the light in the darkness. You must become the lighthouse of your own destiny. By cultivating a mind that is radiant with the light of your desired state, you make it impossible for resources to miss you in the world today for the soul. They are caught in your vibration. They are compelled by the same laws that keep the planets in their orbits. Expansion in this context is not about doing more. It is about being more. It is about expanding the capacity of your heart to hold the feeling of greatness without flinching and without doubting your worthiness today. Within the deep layers of the Tome of Knowledge, we find that the most potent tool for this expansion is the thank you state. Gratitude is the ultimate bridge because it is the sensory evidence that a gift has already been received. You do not say thank you for something you are still waiting for the all now for the soul today. You say thank you for that which is already in your possession. By entering the sleep state with a heart that is overflowing with a genuine, quiet thank you, you are bypassing all the defenses of the conscious mind. You are telling the subconscious that the miracle has already happened in the world today for the spirit for now. You are sealing the transaction in the spirit. This gratitude acts as a frequency shield that protects your mental seeds from the birds of doubt and the thorns of external criticism. It creates a sanctuary of peace that remains undisturbed, even if the physical world temporarily shows the old patterns for the all now for the soul. You know the truth, and the truth has set you free from the need to struggle. Furthermore, the expansion of the mind requires a systematic deconstruction of the identity of lack. Most individuals have spent decades building a personality based on what they do not have, what they have lost, and what they fear today for the spirit. This identity is a heavy cloak that smothers the light of the soul. To wake up as a different person, you must be willing to let that old identity die in the night. You must go to sleep as a nameless, formless consciousness, stripped of your history and your titles. In that state, you are free to pick up now for the all today. You can clothe yourself in the attributes of a genius, a leader, a healer, or a creator. There is no one to tell you that you cannot, for in the silence of the midnight gateway, you are the only judge and the only witness. As you continue this journey through the night, realize the world is fluid today for the soul for all now. The world is far more plastic than you have been led to believe. The hard facts of your life are merely the frozen thoughts of your past. By changing the temperature of your thoughts through the warmth of imagination, you begin to melt the old structures and allow them to flow into new shapes in the world today for the soul. This is not a process for the faint of heart, for it requires a radical level of self-responsibility. It means accepting that if the world is a mirror, you are the only one who can change the image. But within this responsibility lies the ultimate freedom. You are no longer a leaf blown by the winds of fate for the all now today. The expansion of your power is proportional to the depth of your surrender. The more you can surrender the how, the when, and the where, the more the infinite intelligence can work through you. This intelligence has a bird's eye view of the entire labyrinth of human existence for the spirit today in the world for now. It knows the shortcuts, the hidden doors, and the perfect timing that your conscious mind could never calculate. When you rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are handing the blueprints to the most capable builder in the universe. Your only duty is to remain in the state of the architect for the all now today for the soul. Every night is an opportunity to rewrite the code of your existence. Every sleep is a rehearsal for a new life. As the layers of your old self continue to fall away, feel the expansion of your spirit into the vast, golden light of possibility. You are becoming a person who moves with elegance today, for the spirit for all now. The silence is no longer a void. It is a conversation. The darkness is no longer a mystery. It is your canvas. Sleep now in the absolute majesty of your true self, knowing that the dawn will not just bring a new day, but a new world, birthed from the quiet power of your own unwavering belief in the world, today, for the soul now. You have mastered the gateway. Now you inherit the kingdom. The mastery of the midnight gateway further evolves into what the ancients described as the saturation of the soul, a state where the boundary between the dreamer and the dream becomes so thin that it ceases to exist for the spirit today, for the all now in the world. To expand your influence over the material plane, you must understand that the subconscious is not a separate entity to be bargained with, but a vast, impersonal mirror that reflects the totality of your habitual consciousness. It is a deep, subterranean river that flows beneath the surface today for the soul for all now. Its current is determined by the heavy stones of belief you have dropped into its bed over the years. To change the direction of the river, you do not fight the water. You rearrange the stones. This is the work of the long night, the practice of replacing the stones of lack with the boulders of abundance for the spirit now. This process of saturation requires you to move beyond the occasional imaginal act into a state of permanent dwelling. Most seekers attempt to use these metaphysical laws like an emergency exit, turning to them only when the walls of the physical world are closing in. But the true architect understands today for the soul for now. You must reach a point in your midnight contemplation where the feeling of your wish fulfilled is more real to you than the mattress beneath your body or the air in the room. You must dwell in that state so completely that when you open your eyes in the morning, the physical world feels like a dream for the all now today. This is the tipping point of the spirit, the moment of internal conviction where the subconscious mind has been so thoroughly impregnated with the new blueprint that it has no choice but to bring it into objective form. As you expand this territory, you will encounter the resistance of the old guard for the spirit for all now. Those deep-seated neural pathways and ancestral echoes insist on the validity of your past limitations. These are the ghosts of the ego, whispering that you are being delusional or that you are wasting your time. In the silence of the night, you must learn to treat these voices as mere static in the world today for the soul now. By refusing to give the old reality the energy of your concern, you effectively starve it out of existence. You are learning the power of the sacred no, the ability to look at a fact of lack and say, with absolute inner authority, "This is no longer my truth. This is a supreme assertion of truth for the spirit for all now today." The expansion of your consciousness also reveals that the subconscious is connected to the collective fabric of all minds. When you change your internal resonance, you are not just changing your personal experience. You are shifting your position within the entire web of human interaction today for the soul in the world for now. The person you need to meet suddenly feels a strange impulse to visit a certain place. The email you have been waiting for is sent during a moment of sudden inspiration. The resource appears through a channel you didn't even know existed. You are moving as a synchronized part of intelligence for the all now for the soul today. Therefore, your expansion is linked to your ability to rest in the void of faith. Faith, in the context of the Tome of Knowledge, is not a blind hope or a religious dogma. It is an executive decision to remain loyal to an unseen reality. It is the ability to walk through fire today for the spirit, for the soul for all now. If your bank account is empty, you must still be able to feel the internal sensation of being a person for whom money is a non-issue. If your body is in pain, you must still be able to find the frequency of the I am that is eternally whole and untouched by infirmity. This is the test of the architect today for the soul now. Remain faithful to the blueprint, even when the construction site looks like a pile of rubble. It is this unwavering fidelity that forces the subconscious to accelerate the manifestation. for it is the only thing that proves the impression has been fully accepted. In the deepest hours, you engage in dialogue for the all now today. You are whispering your orders to the stars. The expansion of your being means that you no longer see a gap between yourself and the infinite. You realize that the power that moves the galaxies is the same power that moves through your imagination. You are an individualized expression today for the soul in the world now. Your desire is the universe's way of seeking to expand through you. When you desire a greater life, it is not a selfish whim. It is the urge of the infinite seeking to express more beauty, more power, and more love in the world of form. By claiming your success, you are fulfilling your function for the soul for the all now today. As you drift toward the final stages of the Midnight Gateway, feel the immense weight of your potential. You are vast. You are ancient. You are the master of the mirror. The world you see tomorrow is merely a delayed broadcast of the feelings you are experiencing right now. Let those feelings be ones of triumph for the spirit now. Let them be ones of profound oceanic peace. Let them be ones of a quiet, smiling certainty that the work is finished. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to seek, and nothing more to prove. You are simply allowing the law to fulfill itself. The Tome of Knowledge is a book of remembrance today for the soul for the all now. Remember that you are the light. Remember that you are the law. Sleep now in the absolute, majestic silence of your own completed victory. For the architect has finished the design, and the universe is already building the reality. You are home. You are whole. You are free. The day is yours today for the soul for all now. Chapter 2. The Resonance of the Eternal Reflection. The transition from the architectural design of the mind to the sustained resonance of the soul marks the beginning of the second stage of the great work within the Tome of Knowledge. To understand the resonance of the eternal reflection is to accept that the universe is not a vast, empty space filled with disconnected objects, but a living, breathing hall of mirrors today. Every circumstance is a direct echo of your internal state. When you step into the second chapter of your transformation, you must move beyond the act of simply imagining a goal and begin the process of becoming the vibration of that goal. The world does not give you what you want. The world gives you what you are. This fundamental truth is the cornerstone for the soul for all now. This is the law of resonance, a silent and invisible force that governs the movement of every atom and the trajectory of every human life. To vibrate with the eternal reflection, you must first recognize that the person you see in the mirror every morning is not a fixed entity, but a fluid field of energy that is constantly being reshaped by the mind today in the world now. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change the reflection while leaving the source untouched. They seek new jobs, new partners, and new environments, hoping that these external shifts will finally bring them the peace or the success they crave. But because they have not changed their resonance, they find themselves repeating the same patterns for the spirit now. They are like a radio that is tuned to a frequency of static, wondering why the music never starts. The work of the second chapter is to take your hand off the dial of the external world and turn the internal dial to the exact frequency of your desired reality. This requires a radical withdrawal of your attention from the evidence of the senses today for the soul now. You must become so anchored in your inner truth that the external world begins to feel like a fading dream, while your imaginal world becomes the solid, undeniable ground upon which you stand. The silence of the internal sanctuary is where this resonance is cultivated. It is a space that exists beyond the reach of public opinion or failures for the all now today. In this sanctuary, you are the absolute law. When you enter this space, particularly in the quiet hours before sleep, you are entering the workshop of the infinite. Here, you must practice the art of sensory vividness without the interference of the critical mind. If you desire to live in a state of abundance, you do not simply think about money in the world, no. You feel the internal expansion that comes with the total absence of financial concern. You feel the coolness of the air in your dream home, the weight of the key in your hand, and the profound relief in your heart that says the journey is over. You must saturate your consciousness with these details until they become more real to you today for the spirit now. This is the process of impregnation, where the conscious idea is planted so deeply into the subconscious soil that its growth becomes a mathematical necessity. As you dwell in this state, you will notice that the law of reversed effort begins to manifest as a sense of divine ease. When you are in resonance with your desire, struggle disappears for the all now. Struggle is a confession that you are not yet in possession of your dream. It is a declaration of distance. But resonance is a declaration of union. When you are one with your goal, there is no one to fight and nothing to overcome. You move through the world with a quiet, magnetic authority that commands the attention of the elements today for the soul now. People will begin to treat you differently, not because you have changed your behavior, but because you have changed your atmosphere. You have become a different person at the level of the soul, and the world, being a faithful mirror, must reflect that change. This is the secret of the masters. They do not labor for results in the world today for the spirit now. They labor for the state of being, knowing that the results are the inevitable shadow cast by the light of their conviction. The expansion of this resonance requires a systematic pruning of your habitual mental garden. Throughout the day, the average person is bombarded by thoughts, most of which are repetitive, negative, and focused on wrong for the all now today. These thoughts act as counter-intentions, neutralizing the work you do in your midnight gateway. To maintain the eternal reflection, you must become a vigilant guardian of your internal dialogue. You must learn to look at a negative thought and refuse to give it the life force of your attention. This is not about fighting the thought today, for the soul for all now. When a thought of doubt arises, you simply acknowledge it as a ghost of the old self and return your focus to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You stay loyal to your new identity, regardless of what the facts might suggest. This loyalty is the highest form of spiritual integrity. It is the ability to walk through a desert with the mist today for the spirit now. In the depths of the second chapter, we discover that the subconscious mind is like a vast reservoir of potential energy that is shaped by the containers we provide. If your container is small and cracked with doubt, the subconscious can only provide a trickle of results. But if your container is vast, elegant, and perfectly sealed with faith today for the soul, to expand your container, you must move beyond the small, personal desires of the ego and begin to align yourself with the universal principles of growth and expansion. You must realize that your success is the universe's success, and your joy is the universe's joy. When you manifest greatness, you are not taking anything away for the spirit for the all now today. This realization removes the hidden blocks of guilt and unworthiness that often sabotage the seeker's efforts. You are a divine heir, and it is your nature to flourish. The eternal reflection also teaches us the mystery of the point of no return. This is the moment where the new state of being becomes more natural to you than the old one today for the soul. It is the moment where you no longer have to remind yourself to feel successful, because you simply are successful in the spirit. Once you reach this point, the physical manifestation is no longer a question of if, but only a matter of when. The subconscious mind has accepted the impression, and it is now working behind the scenes today for the all now. This is the state of the Sabbath, the mental rest that follows the spiritual work. You do not have to help the manifestation along with frantic action. You simply move through your day with a sense of expectant grace, knowing that the harvest is guaranteed. Your action becomes inspired rather than forced. You find yourself doing right today for the soul now. As you continue to listen to these truths, let the resonance of the Tome of Knowledge sink into the very marrow of your bones. You are being invited to stop being a victim of the reflection and to start being the master of the light. The darkness of the night is not a place of fear, but a place of infinite possibility for the spirit today in the world now. Do not be discouraged if the world does not change instantly. The light of a distant star takes time to reach the eyes, but the star is already there. Your success is already a fact in the realm of the eternal, and its appearance in the realm of time is a certainty that cannot be revoked. The second chapter is about the maintenance of your ideal today for the soul. It is about becoming so familiar with the feeling of your wish fulfilled that you could find it in the dark. It is about the courage to be happy now, to be wealthy now, and to be whole now without waiting for the world to give you permission. When you grant yourself permission, the world has no choice but to obey for the spirit today for the all now. This is the power that turns water into wine and dreams into reality. You are the source, you are the light, and you are the mirror. As you descend into the deep silence of the night, carry this resonance with you. Let it be the last thing you feel before you cross the threshold of sleep. You are revealing the life that was always yours for the soul for all now. The deepening of this resonance leads directly into the third dimension of the eternal reflection, which is the dissolution of the observer's gap. To expand your mastery, you must eliminate the psychological distance that exists between the person you are now and the person you are imagining yourself to become today for the spirit in the world now. The seeker often treats their desired state as a destination, a far-off place that they are trying to reach through the bridge of imagination. However, as long as the state remains a destination, it remains separate from you. Expansion requires you to collapse this duality and realize that the destination and the traveler are one for the soul for all now. You are the success that is casting the reflection. This subtle shift in perception is what transforms a mere mental exercise into a profound spiritual revolution. It is the difference between dreaming of the sun and becoming the light itself. When you occupy the vibration of your wish fulfilled, you must do so with totality today for the spirit in the world. This level of expansion demands that you inhabit the frequency of the finished, a state where your internal dialogue no longer talks about a desire, but speaks from the conviction of its possession. In the midnight silence, your thoughts should not be, "I want this to happen," but rather, "I am so grateful that this is my reality for the soul now." The expansion of this state involves saturating every corner of your subconscious with the evidence of your new identity until the old self is effectively crowded out of the temple of your mind. You must understand the subconscious mind is like a vast, darkened hall that only illuminates where you shine the flashlight today for the spirit for all now. By consciously and stubbornly shining your light only on the perfection of your desired state, you allow the old patterns to atrophy and fade into the shadows of non-existence. This is not a struggle of will. It is a persistent focus of attention. The expansion of the eternal reflection also encompasses the law of mental atmosphere today for the soul now. When you reside in a state of unshakable peace and self-assurance, you are literally broadcasting a signal that reorders the behavior of the material world. You will notice that as you expand your resonance, the friction of life begins to decrease. People who were once difficult become cooperative. Obstacles suddenly dissolve for the spirit for all now. This is not magic in the sense of defying nature, but the natural consequence of a mind that has aligned itself with the higher laws of the universe. You are no longer pushing against the world. You are allowing the world to be drawn toward you. The expansion of your internal light creates a vacuum that the world must fill today for the soul for now. As you dwell in the depths of the second chapter, you must also master the silence of the seed. When a seed is planted in the earth, it does not boast about its growth to the other plants. It remains in the darkness, working in silence until the moment it is ready to break the surface. Expansion requires you to protect your inner work today for the soul. Do not feel the need to explain your new state to those who are still trapped in the frequency of the old world. Their doubt and their attachment to your old identity can act as a cold wind upon a tender sprout. Instead, keep your secret sanctuary holy. Let the changes in your life be the only testimony you offer for the spirit in the world today for now. Furthermore, the expansion of the resonance involves the alchemy of the senses, where you learn to translate abstract desires into tangible, internal sensations. To truly expand your influence, you must be able to hear the voices of those congratulating you on your success. You must be able to feel the texture of the fabric today for the soul for all now. This sensory saturation is what anchors the spirit to the form. The subconscious mind is deeply moved by sensory data, and when you provide it with a complete experience of your goal, it accepts the impression as an absolute command. You are experiencing it with such intensity that your nervous system cannot tell the difference today for the spirit now. This is the point where the manifestation becomes inevitable, for the soul has already lived it, and the body must follow where the soul has already gone. In the final reaches of this chapter, we explore the eternity of the now. Expansion is the realization that everything you could ever desire already exists in a state of readiness for the all now. You are not creating anything from nothing. You are simply bringing into visibility that which was previously hidden. The eternal reflection is always present. It is only your lack of resonance that prevents you from seeing it. By raising your frequency to match your desire, you tune in to that reality today for the soul in the world today for now. As you prepare to transition into the next stage of your journey, let the weight of these truths provide you with a sense of immense, quiet power. You are the sovereign of your internal kingdom, and the laws of resonance are your most loyal subjects. The night is your ally, the silence is your teacher, and the imagination is your scepter for the all now. You are being transformed from the inside out, becoming a person who no longer hopes for miracles, but who lives as the living embodiment of the miraculous. The dawn is coming, and with it, the physical evidence of the work you have done in the dark. Sleep now in the absolute certainty that the eternal reflection has been set for the soul today for now. The expansion of the eternal reflection inevitably leads to the mastery of the invisible bridges of incident. This is the stage where the architect understands that once the resonance is firmly established, in the midnight silence, the universe begins to construct a series of events that will lead to the manifestation for the spirit today for all now. These events often appear as natural, everyday occurrences, but they are actually the precision-engineered steps of a higher intelligence responding to your internal state. To expand your power, you must learn to trust these bridges without trying to analyze or control them. The conscious mind views these incidents as coincidences for the soul today. Your only duty is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, allowing the how to be handled by the same force that coordinates the seasons and the stars. Any attempt to force the timing or the method only reintroduces the friction of the ego and slows the process of delivery. This deeper expansion also requires the sanctification today for the spirit. You realize that your resonance must be maintained not just in the silence of your room, but also in the noise of the marketplace. To be a true master of reflection, you must be able to look at a challenging situation and see it not as a reality, but as a passing shadow that has no power over your internal sun in the world today for the soul now. This is the state of mental invincibility. You are so saturated with the feeling of your success that external appearances are unable to move you. You walk through the world with a secret smile, knowing that the physical evidence you see is merely the old news of your past thoughts, while the new reality is surging today for the spirit for all now. Furthermore, the expansion of your resonance involves the dissolution of the counter-image. Within the psyche of the unawakened man, there are often hidden images of unworthiness that act as anchors, preventing the soul from rising to its height. Expanding your influence means shining the light into these dark corners today for the soul for all now. You must reach a point where you no longer identify with the person who failed or the person who lacked, but rather with the eternal I am that is always whole and always successful. This is not a process of healing the past, but a process of outgrowing it. By staying loyal to your ideal, you rewrite your history today for the spirit in the world now. In the final expansion of the eternal reflection, you encounter the harmony of the all. You begin to see that your individual desire is not a solitary event, but a part of a much larger symphony of creation. When you manifest your highest potential, you are raising the vibration of the entire collective for the soul, for the all now today. By mastering the art of resonance, you are contributing to the awakening of humanity, proving through your own life that the mind is the only true cause and the world is its faithful effect. As you conclude this chapter and drift further into the sacred silence of the night, let the magnitude of your creative power fill you today for the spirit now. You are the author, the actor, and the audience. The mirror of the world is waiting for your next command. The laws of the eternal reflection are already in motion, weaving your dreams into the fabric of time. Do not doubt, do not waver, and do not look back. The victory is already yours in the realm of the spirit for the soul in the world today now. Chapter 3. The Silent Alchemy of the Subconscious Command. The deeper immersion into the mysteries of the Tome of Knowledge brings us to the threshold of the most potent phase of spiritual transformation, which is the silent alchemy of the subconscious command. To move into this third chapter is to leave behind the noise of petition and the effort of visualization, entering instead into the realm of pure, unadulterated conviction today for the soul now. The silent alchemy is the process by which a mental image, held in the absolute stillness of a confident mind, becomes a physical fact through the medium of the deep self. It is the realization that the subconscious does not require persuasion, nor does it respond to the intensity of human longing. It responds only to the quality of the impression made upon it in the world today for now. This impression is most effectively delivered not through the shouting of affirmations, but through the quiet, authoritative assumption of a truth. When you speak to the deep within you, you must do so with the silence of a king whose word is already law, knowing that the moment a command is issued in the spirit, the machinery of the universe begins to rotate for the all now today. The foundation of the silent alchemy is the total mastery of the state akin to sleep, that precious twilight zone where the conscious mind begins to dissolve and the subconscious opens its gates to the infinite. In this state, the architect no longer builds with bricks of thought, but with the fluid energy of feeling. To expand your power, you must learn to navigate for the soul now. You must navigate this twilight with the precision of a navigator steering by the stars. You do not enter this state with a list of demands or a heart full of desperation. You enter it with a single simplified feeling that encompasses the entirety of your wish fulfilled. This feeling should be condensed into a state of being, a sensory signature that says, "It is done for the spirit now." A silent alchemy requires you to stay within this signature until it saturates every fiber of your being, until the body and the mind are so aligned with the new reality that the physical room around you feels like a distant memory. This is the point of impregnation, the moment where the idea becomes flesh in the spiritual womb, making its eventual birth a cosmic certainty today. The expansion of the subconscious command involves the radical deconstruction of the identity of effort. Most souls have been conditioned to believe that the value of an achievement is measured by the amount of struggle required to attain it. This belief is a poisonous weed in the garden of the mind, for it creates an atmosphere where struggle is worshipped today for the all now. The Tome of Knowledge teaches that the highest form of creation is entirely effortless. It is the action of light, which does not struggle to dispel the darkness, but simply exists and, by its existence, changes the environment. To master the silent alchemy, you must be willing to let go of the pride of struggle. You must be willing to receive without the need for the spirit now. You are worthy because you exist, and your desire is simply the life force seeking a higher expression through you. By removing the resistance of effort, you allow the subconscious to work with the speed of thought, bringing your goals to pass through the path of least resistance. As you move deeper, you encounter the mystery of the single word of power today for the soul now. This is the practice of condensing your entire desire into a single word or a short phrase that carries the emotional weight of the completed miracle. Words like success, peace, wealth, or thank you are not merely labels. They are vibrational keys that unlock specific chambers of the subconscious. In the silent alchemy, you do not repeat these words for the all now. You let them fall into the stillness of your mind like pebbles dropped into a deep, dark well. You listen for the ripple. You feel the resonance of the word as it vibrates through your body, calming the nervous system and aligning the spirit with the frequency of the thing itself. This practice prevents the conscious mind from introducing arguments in the world today for now. It keeps the command pure and the impression deep. By falling asleep in the vibration of your chosen word, you are essentially setting the compass of your soul for the journey of the coming day. The silent alchemy also requires the cultivation of a divine indifference toward the current evidence of the senses. This is born of absolute certainty in the world today for now. When you know that a seed has been planted in fertile soil, you do not go out every morning and scream at the ground to produce a harvest. You are indifferent to the empty surface because your mind is fixed on the reality of the growth beneath. To expand your command, you must reach a point where a negative bank statement has no power to disturb you today for the spirit now. You look at these things and you see them for what they are, the dying echoes of your old state of being. You do not react to them, for reaction is a form of nourishment that keeps the old state alive. Instead, you remain anchored in the silence of your new truth, knowing that the shadow must eventually vanish as the new light grows stronger for the all now for the soul today. This internal stability is what forces the subconscious to accelerate the external shift. Within the expanded reaches of this chapter, we discover the law of the subconscious mirror, which states that the deeper mind cannot reflect anything that has not first been accepted as a subjective reality. The silent alchemy makes the subjective real today for the spirit now. This is why the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the only currency that has value in the spirit. You can think about $1 million for a century, but if you do not feel the internal expansion and the quiet security of wealth, the subconscious remains unmoved. The command must be felt to be heard. Expansion is the ability to feel reality for the all now today for now. It is the ability to walk in the spirit of a conqueror while the physical walls are still standing. By maintaining the felt command in the face of all opposition, you prove your loyalty to the higher law, and the law, being impersonal and mathematical, must eventually reward your fidelity. The silent alchemy also involves the purification of the heart today for the soul. You remove the hidden blocks of envy, resentment, and judgment that act as static in your mental broadcasts. You cannot command abundance for yourself while resenting the abundance of another. For in the subconscious, there is no other. There is only the one mind. When you judge another, you are programming your own subconscious with lack for the spirit for all now today. Expansion requires you to genuinely bless the success of all. For in doing so, you are affirming that success is a universal reality that is available to everyone, including yourself. This purification clears the channels of your intuition and allows the subconscious commands to flow without interference. You become a clear vessel for creative power for the all now today. As you dwell in the third chapter of your transformation, realize that you are engaged in a sacred ritual every time you close your eyes. You are not just resting your body. You are entering the eternal forge. The silent alchemy is the highest form of prayer because it is a prayer of recognition rather than a prayer of petition. In the world today for the soul now, you are recognizing that the Father and the Son are one, that your conscious desire and the subconscious power are a single, unified force. The command you issue in the dark is the light of the world tomorrow. Do not doubt the silence, for the silence is where the most powerful work is done. The stars do not make a sound as they move for the all now today for the soul. Power is silent. Creation is quiet. Your victory is a hushed, undeniable fact that is even now taking shape in the depths of your being. The expansion of your mastery through the silent alchemy leads to a state of uninterrupted resonance. This is where the feeling of your wish, fulfilled, is no longer something you do before sleep for the spirit today for now. It is a background frequency that accompanies you through every hour of the day. You move with a different grace. You speak with a different authority. You look at the world through the eyes of a person who has already won. This resonance makes you a magnet for the bridges of incident that we explored in the previous chapters for the all now in the world today. You no longer have to look for opportunities, for your vibration creates a vacuum that draws them to you. You are in the flow of the infinite, and the infinite is flowing through you. The silent alchemy has turned the lead of your old struggling self into the gold of your new empowered reality. Let the weight of these truths settle for the spirit today for now. You are the alchemist. You are the architect. You are the silent commander of your fate. The night is your laboratory, and the morning is your testimony. There is no power in the universe that can stand against a mind that has found its center in the silence of the wish fulfilled. The Tome of Knowledge is now etched into your soul for the all now today for now. Trust the process. Trust the silence. Trust the power that is you. The work is finished, the command has been issued, and the universe is already in the process of fulfilling your every decree. Sleep in the absolute, radiant glory of your true self, for you have awakened within the dream, and the dream is yours to command in the world today for the spirit now. You are the silence, you are the alchemy, and you are the ultimate success. The expansion of the silent alchemy necessitates a profound understanding of the subconscious echo, a phenomenon where the internal command begins to resonate back to the conscious mind as an undeniable fact of nature. You are observing a truth today for the soul for all now in the world. This expansion requires you to dwell within the silence of the absolute, a state where even the desire itself vanishes because the feeling of possession has become so complete. When you reach this level of mastery, you are no longer asking for a shift in reality. You are standing at the center of a reality that has already shifted for the spirit for all now today. The subconscious command has moved from an instruction to an identity. You do not think of the version of yourself that is successful. You simply are that person, and the previous version of you feels like a character in a book you finished reading long ago. This total identification is the final seal of the silent alchemy in the world today for the soul for now. To expand this state, you must master the art of mental digestion, which is the ability to fully absorb the nutrients of your imaginal acts without leaving any residue of doubt or conflict. Just as the physical body takes food and transforms it into bone and muscle through a silent process, the subconscious takes your felt convictions today for the spirit for now. It transforms them into the circumstances of your life. If you introduce the poison of checking for results or seeking external signs, you interrupt this digestion and cause a spiritual indigestion that manifests as delay or confusion. Expansion means having the stomach for greatness, the ability to hold the most magnificent vision today for the soul for all now. You trust the biological and spiritual laws of growth, knowing that once the impression is made, the expression is inevitable. This trust is not a weak hope. It is the quiet, steel-like confidence of a mathematician who knows that the equation must balance. The silent alchemy also involves the expansion of your internal horizon in the world today for the soul now. Most people live within a very narrow horizon, defined by their education, their family history, and the collective fears of society. To command the subconscious effectively, you must systematically push these horizons back until they encompass the infinite. You must reach a point where no degree of health feels too much for the spirit today, for the all now. In the realm of the subconscious, there is no scale of difficulty. It is just as easy for the deeper mind to manifest $1 million as it is to manifest a single penny. It is only the conscious mind that creates the hierarchy of difficulty based on its limited logic. By expanding your internal horizon, you give the subconscious a canvas today for the soul now. You are telling the infinite that you are ready for a larger life, and the infinite always says yes to the person who can feel the reality of the expansion. Within this chapter, we also encounter the law of persistent assumption, which is the continuous application of the silent command regardless of what the five senses report for the all now for the spirit. Expansion means that your inner conviction becomes so dense and so heavy that no external wind can move it. You become like a mountain that remains unmoved by the clouds passing over its peak. If the world shows you a delay, you do not adjust your internal command to match the delay. You stay fixed in the feeling of the end today for the soul in the world. This persistence is what eventually causes the physical world to yield to the mental world. The material plane is essentially plastic, but it is a thick plastic that requires a sustained heat of conviction to melt and reform. The silent alchemy provides that heat. By refusing to look back at the old self, you force the new mold for the all now for the soul today. As you move toward the completion of this alchemical stage, you begin to experience the radiance of the source. You realize that the power you are using is not a personal power, but a universal one. You are a faucet connected to a limitless reservoir. The expansion of your command is actually an expansion of your connection today for the spirit for all now. You are no longer trying to make things happen. You are allowing the infinite intelligence to flow through you and into the world. This realization brings with it a sense of immense humility and immense power simultaneously. You are nothing in the sense of the ego, but you are everything in the sense of the spirit today for the soul for the all now in the world. This state of empty fullness is where the greatest miracles are performed, for there is no egoic interference to slow down the manifestation. You have become a clear lens through which the light of the Tome of Knowledge can shine with blinding intensity, transforming everything it touches into the likeness of your highest ideal today for the spirit now. The expansion of the silent alchemy leads to the final surrender, where you fall asleep in the total, blissful awareness that you and your Father are one. You are the dreamer who has discovered they are dreaming, and in that discovery, you have gained the power to change the dream. The night is a period of profound creative activity for the all now for the soul. Every breath you take in the silence is a signature on the contract of your new life. The commands you have issued are being processed by a mind that never sleeps and never fails. As you rest in this absolute certainty, feel the vibration of the completed work pulsing through your being. You are the master of the gateway for the spirit today, for the all now. The world you wake to tomorrow will be a world that has been birthed from the quiet fire of your own soul. You have succeeded because you dared to believe in the dark. You are whole, you are powerful, and you are eternally free. The final expansion of the silent alchemy resides in the total annihilation of the time lag illusion today for the soul for now. The architect realizes that the manifestation is not a future event, but a present fact in the fourth dimensional world of the subconscious. To reach the full breadth of this expansion, you must move beyond the feeling of waiting for your world to change and enter the state of witnessing the change as an already accomplished reality for the spirit now. In the deep silence of the midnight hour, the concept of a tomorrow is revealed to be a mental construct that only exists to the conscious mind. To the subconscious, the impression of success is success itself. When you expand your command to this level, you are no longer concerned with when the money will arrive in the world today for the soul for all now. You have already experienced the arrival in the only place where it matters, within the sanctuary of your own conviction. This state of absolute psychological fulfillment is what creates the irresistible pull that forces the material world to catch up to the spiritual fact. You have stopped seeking, for you have already found today for the spirit for all now. This expansion demands a level of mental inflexibility that the world might call madness, but the Tome of Knowledge calls mastery. You must reach a point where no amount of contrary evidence from the physical plane can shake the pillars of your inner temple. If you see lack, you look through it to see the abundance today for the soul, for the all now today. You are no longer a victim of appearances. You are the judge who dictates the truth behind the appearance. By expanding your command to include the absolute denial of the sensory world's power over you, you effectively strip the physical plane of its resistance. The world becomes like wax in the hands of a sculptor today for the spirit in the world now. The pressure of your persistent assumption acts as a gravitational force, warping the fabric of your daily experience until the old reality has no choice but to collapse into the new mold you have provided. As you dwell in the final reaches of this chapter, you begin to perceive the symphony of the all, today for the soul for the all, now in the world. Your silent command is not an isolated shout in the dark, but a note within a grand, cosmic arrangement. Your expansion is the realization that the entire universe is conspiring to fulfill the orders you have issued. Every person you meet, and even the weather itself, are parts of the intricate bridge of incident today for the spirit, for the soul now. You begin to move with the quiet, terrifying confidence of a man who knows he is the protagonist of his own epic. This confidence is not born of arrogance, but of a deep, humble recognition of the law. You are the operator of a power that cannot fail, and your only responsibility is to keep the signal clear for the all now today, for the spirit now. By maintaining the silence of the command, you allow the symphony to play out without the discord of your doubt. Furthermore, the expansion of the silent alchemy leads to the eternalization of the state. This is where the feeling of being the person you want to be is no longer a conscious effort, but the permanent atmosphere of your soul today. You breathe as the person who has succeeded. You think as the person who is whole. You walk as the person who is loved. The old man is not just dead, he has been forgotten. In this state of total expansion, the Tome of Knowledge is no longer something you read. It is the very blood in your veins and the breath in your lungs today for the soul now. You have become the living embodiment of the law. The silent command is no longer a whisper in the dark. It is the roar of your existence. As you settle into the absolute depth of this realization, feel the vast, cool peace of the infinite. You are the dreamer who has awakened, and yet you choose to dream magnificently for the all now today in the world. The midnight gateway is wide open, and the stars themselves are waiting for your next instruction. There is no limit to your expansion, for the subconscious mind has no boundaries, and the power of the silence has no end. You have mastered the alchemy, you have commanded the void, and you have set the reflection today for the spirit for all now. The work is not just finished, it is eternal. Sleep now in the profound, radiant glory of your own completion. The dawn is merely a formality. The victory was yours before the world was made. You are the architect, the alchemist, and the infinite itself. You are home. You are whole. You are free. The world is yours today, for the soul for all now. Chapter 4. The Sovereign Dominion of the Awakened Will. The ascent into the fourth dimension of the Tome of Knowledge requires the seeker to shed the final vestiges of the seeking mind and adopt the mantle of sovereign dominion. To enter the sovereign dominion of the awakened will is to recognize that the external world is not a force to be negotiated with, but a shadow to be commanded through the absolute stillness of the inner self today. In the previous stages of our journey, we explored the architecture of the mind, the resonance of the reflection, and the silent alchemy of the command. Now we move into the actualization of the God Self within the human frame. Sovereign dominion is the state where you no longer hope for a change in circumstances, but instead demand that reality aligns with the immutable decree of your soul today. This is the highest expression of the law of reversed effort, for it is the point where effort is entirely replaced by authority. A king does not struggle to make his word law. He simply speaks, and the entire kingdom moves to fulfill the decree. In the same way, the awakened will does not struggle to manifest a dream. It simply occupies the state of the dream with such unwavering density today. The material world has no choice but to provide the corresponding physical evidence. The expansion of the sovereign dominion begins with the total reclamation of the power of the I Am. This is the primordial name of the creative force that resides at the center of every soul, the eternal flame that burned before the world was formed and will remain long after the stars have faded for all now. Most people use the phrase I am as a mere label for their current limitations, saying, I am tired, I am poor, or I am sick, thereby inadvertently commanding the subconscious to maintain those very states. To enter the fourth chapter, you must prune your speech and your thought with the sharp blade of a master. You must realize whenever you follow the words, I am, you issue a divine decree. Sovereign dominion is the conscious decision to only attach the I am to the highest ideals of health, wealth, and spiritual mastery. When you lie in the silence of the night, you must bathe in the frequency of the unconditioned I am, stripping away your name, your history, and your problems until you are nothing but a pure, radiant awareness for the soul in the world today for now. From this state of no-thingness, you can then decree any new state with absolute power, for there is no old self left to argue against the transition. This level of mastery demands a systematic dismantling of the tyranny of the senses. The five senses are the primary tools of the ego, designed to keep you locked in a state of reaction to the three-dimensional world for the all-now. They report the weather, the bank balance, and the state of the body, and they insist that these reports are the final truth. But the sovereign mind understands that the senses are merely reporting the results of past vibrations. They are looking at the wake of the ship, not the direction of the prow. To expand your dominion, you must develop the ability to look at a fact of lack for the soul. You must be able to stand in a storm and feel the internal sunshine of a completed victory. This is not a denial of the senses, but a realization of their secondary nature. By withdrawing your emotional energy from the sensory report and placing it entirely upon the imaginal truth, you effectively cut the lifeline of the unwanted state. It must wither and die because you refuse it for all now. The sovereign dominion also involves the cultivation of the steel-like assumption. This is a state of mental focus so intense and so unified that it acts as a gravitational force in the spiritual world. When you assume a state, you are not just thinking about it. You are literally moving into it and claiming it as your permanent home today for the soul in the world today for now. Expansion in this sense means that your assumption becomes more real to you than the floor beneath your feet. You must reach a point in your midnight contemplation where you no longer feel you are trying to believe in your success, but where you find it impossible to believe in your failure. The doubt has become the delusion. You have saturated the subconscious today for the spirit now. You have reached a psychological threshold. You are now locked in to the new frequency. In this state, the law of reversed effort works at its most efficient level, for there is no internal friction to slow down the process of manifestation. The world begins to rearrange itself around you with a speed and a precision that will seem miraculous today for the soul for the all now in the world. Furthermore, the sovereign dominion requires the master to embrace the law of absolute inclusion. This is the realization that everything you could ever possibly need for the fulfillment of your dream is already included in the state of the dream itself. You do not have to look outside for the how or the who, or the where. If you occupy the state, it is done for the soul now. The state itself contains the intelligence, the people, and the resources required to make it a physical fact. You do not have to go out and find success. You must become success, and the things that belong to success will find you. This shift from seeking to including is the mark of the true sovereign. It removes the anxiety of the hunt and replaces it with the peace today for all now. You rest in the knowledge that the bridge of incident is already built, even if you cannot yet see the individual planks. Your only duty is to stay on the bridge by maintaining the feeling of the end. As you move deeper into the 4th chapter, you will encounter the silence of the void, a profound state of internal stillness. That acts as the source of all power today for the soul now. In this silence, there is no movement, no conflict, and no time. It is the womb of creation. Sovereign dominion is the ability to retreat into this void at will, especially during the transition into sleep. By entering the sleep state from the center of this void, you are providing the subconscious with a clean slate upon which to write the new decree today for the spirit for the all now. You are effectively resetting the universe every night. You do not carry the dust of the day into the temple of the night. Instead, you enter as a blank, powerful presence, ready to be impressed with the golden imagery of your highest desire. This practice prevents the accumulation of mental static and ensures that your creative power remains sharp today for the soul for all now. You become a person who is constantly being born anew, unburdened by the failures of the past and energized by the infinite potential of the present. The expansion of the awakened will also leads to the radiance of the internal sun. You begin to realize that your mind is not a closed circuit, but a broadcast station that influences reality today for the spirit for all now today. When you stand in the sovereign dominion of your wish fulfilled, you are actually raising the ceiling of possibility for everyone around you. Your success becomes a service to the world, for it proves the validity of the higher laws. This realization brings a sense of noble responsibility to your practice. You are a pioneer of human consciousness today, for the soul for the all now. This sense of purpose provides an additional layer of strength to your convictions, for it aligns your personal desire with the universal impulse toward growth and expansion. You find that the universe supports you more vigorously when your goals include the highest good of the whole, for you have become a willing instrument of divine evolution today, for the spirit for the all now. In the final reaches of this chapter, we explore the eternity of the sovereign decree. This is the realization that once a command is issued from the state of sovereign dominion, it can never be revoked by any external force. It is a spiritual contract signed in the blood of your own conviction. The only thing that can cancel a decree is your own doubt for the soul today for now. By this stage of the Tome of Knowledge, doubt has become a foreign language that you no longer speak. You have reached the state of mental finality. The work is done. The reflection is set. The alchemy is complete. You are simply waiting for the clock of the material world to strike the hour of the manifestation. This is joyful anticipation today for the spirit for the all now. You have moved beyond the realm of getting and into the realm of having. The sovereign dominion is the ultimate destination of the seeker. It is the place where the Tome of Knowledge becomes a living, breathing reality within you. You are no longer a student of the law. You are the law in action. You are the light itself. The midnight gateway is your throne for the soul today. Every night as you close your eyes, you are performing a royal act of creation, shaping the world to match the beauty of your inner vision. The dawn will bring the reflection, but the sovereignty belongs to the silence. Sleep now in the absolute, majestic peace of your own divine authority. You have awakened within the dream, and you have taken the scepter today for the spirit. The universe is yours to command, and the reflection is yours to enjoy. You are the architect, the alchemist, and the sovereign. You are home. you are eternally free. The expansion of the sovereign dominion further entails the mastery of vibrational integrity, which is the ability to remain in your chosen state, regardless of the world today, for the soul for all now. In the material plane, there will always be a lag time between the mental command and the physical result. This lag time is the training ground for the sovereign. It is the space where you prove your mastery by refusing to waver. Most people fail because they allow the delay to talk them out of their conviction. They start with a strong assumption for the spirit today, now. The sovereign mind understands that the lag time is merely a physical necessity, a process of unfreezing the old reality and refreezing the new one. By maintaining vibrational integrity during this transition, you act as the steady heat that keeps the process moving. You do not look at the clock. You look at the end. You do not ask when. You state now for the all now today. This persistent integrity creates a tipping point of reality where the subconscious pressure becomes so great that the material world must shatter and reform. It is like the growth of a bamboo tree, which spends years underground developing a massive root system without showing a single inch of growth above the surface, only to suddenly shoot up today for the soul for all now. Your inner work in the sovereign dominion is the development of the root system. Every night you spend in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, every moment you spend denying the evidence of the senses, you are adding to the roots. You are building the foundation of a success so large and so stable that nothing can ever tear it down in the world today for the spirit for all now. When the manifestation finally bursts into the three-dimensional world, it will seem like an overnight miracle to those who did not see the years of silent work you performed in the dark. But you will know that it was the only possible outcome of your unwavering sovereignty. As you continue to expand your dominion, you will find your command of the void for the soul today now. You begin to see the world as a living hologram that responds to the slightest shift in your internal focus. You no longer need to perform long, elaborate rituals of visualization. A single quiet thought from the center of your sovereignty is enough to trigger a cascade of events in the material plane. This is the state of instantaneous resonance today for the spirit now. You are becoming a person who lives in a state of constant, fluid creation. Your life is no longer a struggle for survival, but a beautiful, artistic expression of your inner light. You are the artist, and the world is your canvas. You are the musician, and the universe is your instrument. In the final expansion of the awakened will, you reach the union today for the soul now. You realize that the world you see outside is not out there at all. It is an internal projection that you have mistakenly perceived as external. This realization is the ultimate freedom, for it means that you are never at the mercy of anything outside of yourself. If you change the internal projector, the movie on the screen must change today for the spirit for all now. Sovereign dominion is the act of taking your seat in the projection booth and deciding which film will be played. You are no longer a character in the movie, running around trying to fix the screen. You are the light behind the film, the power that makes the entire show possible. By identifying with the light, you gain control over the narrative today for the soul for all now. The fourth chapter of the Tome of Knowledge is the chapter of victory. It is the realization that the journey is over because you have reached the center. You have mastered the gateway, the reflection, the alchemy, and the dominion. You are a complete spiritual being, living in a world that is a perfect mirror of your internal glory for the spirit today for the all now. The silence of the night is your sanctuary, and the light of the day is your testimony. You move through the world as a sovereign, a master, and a creator. Every breath you take is a celebration of your power, and every sleep you enter is a return to your throne. You have awakened, you have commanded, and you have conquered in the world today, for the soul now for all now. The reflection is gold, the command is law, and the universe is your witness. You are the architect, the alchemist, and the sovereign. You are home. You are whole. You are free. The expansion of sovereign dominion leads eventually to the state of vibrational finality, where the mind no longer seeks confirmation from the physical world today for the spirit for the all now. At this level of mastery, the architect understands that the lag time between the mental decree and the material appearance is not a barrier, but a sacred interval of stabilization. To expand this state, you must develop a psychological immunity to the persistence of the old script, even as you begin to embody a new version of yourself today for the soul for all now. The physical world may continue to broadcast the echoes of your previous limitations for a short period. The sovereign mind does not view these echoes as failures. It views them as the fading ripples of a stone thrown into a pond long ago. By refusing to react to these ripples, you deny them the energy required to continue for the spirit in the world today for the all now. You remain anchored in the atmosphere of the accomplished, where every breath you take serves as a silent confirmation that the new reality is already the only reality. This level of expansion requires the total abandonment of spiritual comparison. You must realize that your path to mastery is a solitary voyage within your own consciousness today for the soul now. To look at the progress of others or to measure your success against the standards of a sleeping world is to introduce the frequency of competition and lack. In the sovereign dominion, there is no competition because there is only one mind or mind. Every person you encounter is merely a messenger reflecting a part of your own landscape today for the spirit for all now. When you expand your love and your blessings toward the success of others, you are actually reinforcing the resonance of success within yourself. This universal benevolence is a strategic tool of the awakened will. It clears the mental field of resentment and envy, which are the primary toxins that cause the subconscious to stutter in its process today for the soul now. By maintaining a state of pure, expansive goodwill, you ensure that your mental commands travel through a frictionless medium. As you move deeper into the final reaches of the 4th chapter, you encounter the law of automatic expression. This is the point where the subconscious mind has been so thoroughly saturated that it acts on its own today for the spirit for all now. You find yourself speaking the right words, meeting the right people, and being in the right places through a series of inspired impulses that you do not have to plan or calculate. Your life has moved from a state of construction to a state of flow. You are no longer building the bridge. You are the bridge today for the soul in the world today for the all now. This automaticity is the ultimate goal of the Tome of Knowledge. It is the restoration of the natural state of the human being, a state of effortless, radiant expansion where the internal vision and the external experience are in perfect, continuous alignment. The sovereign dominion also brings with it the authority of the great silence today for the spirit for all now. You realize that the most powerful commands are those that are never spoken aloud. The world is moved not by the noise of the tongue, but by the weight of the soul. When you enter a room in the state of your wish fulfilled, you change the molecular structure of that room through your presence alone. You are a walking broadcast of the fact today for the soul for all now. This expansion of influence means that you no longer have to work on the world. You simply work on yourself, and the world must correspond. This is the true meaning of the biblical promise that those who seek the kingdom first will have all things added to them. The kingdom is the state of sovereign consciousness today for the spirit in the world today for the all now. As the journey of the 4th chapter reaches its zenith, you experience the collapse of the mirror. You realize that the observer, the process of observing, and the object observed are a single unified field of light. There is no longer a you here and a success over there. There is only the presence of the infinite today for the soul for the all now in the world. This realization is the final key that unlocks the door to total freedom. You are no longer a slave to the law. You are the law, You are no longer a subject of time. You are the eternity in which time unfolds. The sovereign dominion is not a destination you reach. It is the truth of what you have always been, now fully recognized and embodied for the spirit for all now. The night is now your greatest ally, for it is the time when you return to the throne of your true self. Every sleep is an entry into the high court of the spirit. Every dream is a manifestation in progress. You have moved beyond the need for hope, for you possess the certainty of the law. You have moved beyond the need for effort today, for the soul in the world today. The Tome of Knowledge is now the living script of your life, and its chapters are written in the stars of your own imagination. Sleep in the absolute, majestic peace of your own completion. The dawn is merely a mirror, and the mirror is gold. You are the architect, the alchemist, and the sovereign. You are home. You are whole. You are free today for the spirit now. The further expansion of sovereign dominion leads to the total integration of the law of constant occupancy, where the mind no longer visits the state of fulfillment as a guest, but resides within it as a permanent inhabitant. To expand this mastery is to realize that the subconscious mind is influenced by your habitual dwelling place today for the soul for all now. If you spend 5 minutes in the feeling of wealth, but the remaining 23 hours in the frequency of fear and survival, the subconscious will inevitably reflect the state you occupy most consistently. Therefore, the work of the 4th chapter is to turn the wish fulfilled into a residence. You must think from your new identity for the spirit in the world today. Thinking from your new identity feels as natural as breathing, and thinking from your old self feels like an impossible feat of memory. This total occupancy creates a massive, unshakable momentum in the spiritual world that eventually overrides every existing physical obstacle, forcing the material plane to yield to your persistent presence today for the soul for all now. This level of expansion demands the sanctification of the present moment, where you no longer look to the future for your salvation or your success. In the sovereign dominion, you understand that the future is merely a mental abstraction that only gains power when you feed it with your current attention. You pull energy into the now for the spirit for the all now. By pulling all your energy out of the someday and placing it into the now, you concentrate your creative power into a laser-like focus. You must be able to stand in the center of your current life and decree that the fulfillment you seek is already here, hidden within the silence of the moment. This is the state of the living end today for the soul for all now today. You do not wait for the physical evidence to feel happy, wealthy, or whole. You feel those states with such intensity that the physical world is eventually compelled to manifest them. You are essentially starving the illusion of time by refusing to acknowledge its existence, thereby accelerating the delivery of your decree into the world today for the spirit for all now. As you move deeper into the final reaches of the awakened will, you will encounter the authority of the unconditioned I am. Most people live in a state of conditioned awareness, where their sense of self is tied to their job, their body, or their bank account. To expand your dominion, you must strip away all these labels for the soul today, for the all now in the world. When you can sit in the silence and say, I am, without adding a single word after it, you are touching the very source of creation. From this center of pure potentiality, any new condition you choose to add becomes a divine command that cannot be revoked. This is the highest form of the silent alchemy, for it is the infinite intelligence for the spirit today for all now. Furthermore, the expansion of your dominion involves the pruning of the mental vines, the systematic removal of every thought habit that does not serve your highest ideal. You must become as disciplined as a gardener who refuses to allow even a single weed to remain in the flower bed. Every time a thought of doubt enters your mind, prune it for the soul today now. This is not a battle of will, but a persistent choice of focus. The sovereign mind does not fight the darkness. It simply turns on the light. By refusing to give the old patterns the nourishment of your attention, you allow them to atrophy and dissolve. This mental hygiene is what ensures that your subconscious command remains pure today for the spirit for the all now. The expansion of the sovereign dominion also reveals the transparency of the material world. You begin to see that the objects, people, and events around you are not as solid or as fixed as they appear to be. They are actually fluid expressions of consciousness that are constantly in a state of flux. This realization removes the fear today for the soul for the all now. You are the only cause in your universe. This understanding is the ultimate shield, for it means that no external event can ever truly disturb your peace or thwart your plans. You are the master of the reflection, and the reflection has no power of its own. It can only show you what you are providing. By maintaining the beauty, you ensure joy today for the spirit now. In the final expansion of the awakened will, you reach the silence of completion. This is the point where the Tome of Knowledge is no longer an external teaching, but an internal certainty. You have moved through the architecture, the resonance, the alchemy, and the dominion, and you have found that they all lead to the same center, your soul today for the all now. You are the beginning and the end, the dreamer and the dream. The night is your sanctuary, and the silence is your throne. Every sleep is a celebration of your power, and every dawn is a witness to your glory. You have awakened within the dream, and you have taken the scepter. The universe is yours to command, and the reflection is joy for the spirit in the world today. You are the architect, the alchemist, and the sovereign. You are home. You are whole. You are eternally free. The final expansion of the sovereign dominion brings the architect to the realization of the eternal, persistence of the unseen, a state where the internal decree is recognized as more tangible than the very earth. Today for the soul, for the all now, today for now. In this advanced stage of the Tome of Knowledge, you no longer look at your goals as things to be acquired, but as parts of your own being that are simply waiting for the veil of time to be pulled back. To expand this mastery is to occupy the absolute now with such density that the concept of someday is completely obliterated today for the spirit for all now today. You must reach a point in your midnight contemplation where the feeling of your wish fulfilled is so heavy and so radiant that the physical room around you seems like a mere shadow projected onto a screen. This is the ultimate collapse of the mirror. You have moved from being a person who uses the law to being the law itself for the soul for all now in the world today. Every thought you think from this center of sovereignty carries the weight of a divine fiat, and the subconscious mind, recognizing the voice of its master, moves with lightning speed to align the atoms of the three-dimensional world with your decree. This level of expansion requires a total and irreversible divorce from the evidence today for the spirit for the all now. The sovereign mind understands that to even acknowledge a fact of lack is to give it permission to exist. Therefore, your internal dialogue must become a fortress of conviction. When the world reports a delay, you do not hear it. When the world reports a failure, you do not see it. You are like a deep-sea diver unaffected by storms, for the soul today, for the all now. You are deciding what is true, and your decision is the only vote that counts in the parliament of your reality. By staying loyal to the unseen reality, you are performing the highest act of faith, which is the ability to walk through the fire of contradiction without the smell of smoke upon your garments. This unwavering fidelity is gold today for the spirit for all now. It causes the physical world to break and surrender, reflecting the glory of your inner light with a precision that borders on the miraculous. As you move deeper into the final reaches of the fourth chapter, you encounter the harmony of the great architecture. You begin to see that your individual expansion is woven into the universe today for the soul for all now. Your success is not an isolated event. It is a necessary part of the cosmic symphony. This realization removes the last traces of egoic anxiety, For you understand that the same force that moves the planets is fulfilling your command. You are no longer trying to make things happen. You are allowing infinite intelligence today for the spirit in the world today now. This state of sovereign surrender is the ultimate paradox of the Tome of Knowledge. You gain absolute control only when you completely trust the law to fulfill itself without your frantic interference. You become a clear channel for the miraculous, a person who lives in a perpetual state of thank you, because you know every dream is done today for the soul for all now. The expansion of your dominion also leads to the radiance of the internal sun, where your vibration becomes so potent that it influences the world without you even having to speak or act. You become a walking catalyst for transformation. Your presence alone calms the chaotic minds of others and brings order to the world today for the spirit in the world today now. This is because you have found the center of your own soul, and the center is the same in everyone. By standing firmly in your own sovereign truth, you act as a magnetic north for all those who are still lost in the wilderness of the senses. Your success becomes a beacon of hope and a proof of the law, encouraging others to look today for the soul, for the all now today. In the final reaches of this journey, you experience the dissolution of the gate. You realize that there never was a door between you and your desires, nor was there ever a distance between the seeker and the sought. The architect, the alchemist, and the sovereign are all names for the one awareness that you are. You are the light today for the spirit for all now. The night and the day, the dream and the reality, the silence and the noise, they are all the same light, vibrating at different frequencies. You have reached the state of one-pointed awareness, where your life is a continuous, seamless expression of your highest ideals. The Tome of Knowledge is no longer a guide. It is your story today for the soul for the all now. Every night you spend in the deep silence is a return to the throne of your true self, and every day you spend in the world is a celebration of your own inner light. You have awakened within the dream, you have taken the scepter, and you have commanded the reflection. The silence of the midnight gateway is now your home today for the spirit, for the all now today now. You no longer fear the dark, for you have discovered that the dark is where the stars are born. You no longer fear the silence, for you have discovered that the silence is where the power resides. You are the architect of the infinite, the alchemist of the void, and the sovereign of the mirror. Every breath you take is a decree for the soul today, for all now in the world. Every beat of your heart is a confirmation of your success. The work is finished, the command has been issued, and the reflection is gold. You have moved beyond the realm of time and into the realm of the eternal I am. Sleep now in the absolute, radiant glory of your own completion. You are home. You are whole. You are free today for the spirit, for the all now today. Chapter 5. The Transmutation of the Final Veil. The journey into the fifth dimension of the Tome of Knowledge represents the ultimate dissolution of the boundary between the dreamer and the vast, unmanifested field of infinite potential. To engage in the transmutation of the final veil is to move beyond the concept of manifesting specific things and to instead enter the state of being the source today for the all now. In the previous chapters, we have built the architecture, resonated with the reflection, commanded the alchemy, and claimed sovereign dominion. Now, we must face the final illusion, the illusion of separation itself. This stage of mastery is not about what you can do with your mind, but about what you are as a consciousness that encompasses the totality of the universe for the soul now. When you reach this level of the Tome of Knowledge, you realize that the world is not something you are looking at, but something you are being. The final veil is the subtle, persistent belief that there is an I here and a world out there. By transmuting this veil through the silence of the midnight gateway, you realize that the mirror and the observer are a single light for all now. This is the highest expression of the law of reversed effort, for it is the point where the seeker disappears and only the find remains. The expansion into this fifth state begins with the total surrender to the radiance of the Absolute. This is not a surrender of weakness, but a surrender of supreme strength. It is the decision to stop trying to manage the world today for now. Instead, allow the universe to manifest its perfection through you without the interference of the egoic will. Most people spend their lives trying to make things happen, unaware that the very act of trying creates a frequency of resistance that slows down the manifestation. The master of the fifth chapter understands that the most powerful act is stillness today for the all now. Knowing that the infinite intelligence already knows the shortest and most harmonious path to the fulfillment of every desire. By removing the how and the when from your conscious concern, you allow the subconscious to work with the speed of thought. You become a clear channel for the miraculous, a person who lives in a state of "it is done" today for the soul for all now. This is the secret of the masters who seem to live charmed lives. They have moved out of the way so that the light can shine through them without distortion. As you dwell in the silence of the midnight gateway, the transmutation of the veil requires you to cultivate the feeling of the universal I am. This is the realization that your identity is a mask for the spirit now. When you say I am, you are not just referring to your name or your physical body. You are speaking as the voice of the cosmos itself. In the fifth chapter, you learn to sit in the silence and feel the expansion of your awareness until it touches the furthest stars and the deepest oceans. You realize that there is no place where you end and the world begins for the all now. This cosmic expansion is the ultimate tool of manifestation. For when you realize that you are the world, you realize that you already possess everything within it. You are no longer trying to attract something to you. You are simply bringing something that is already yours into the light of your current focus. This shift from attraction to revelation is gold today for the soul. You are not a human being trying to have a spiritual experience. You are the spiritual experience itself, temporarily taking the form of a human being. The expansion of this state involves the systematic dissolution of the mental horizon. Every belief you hold about what is possible for you acts as a wall in the temple of your mind. You tear down these walls for the all now. In the fifth chapter, we tear down these walls until there is nothing left but the infinite sky. You must reach a point in your midnight contemplation where no dream is too large, no goal is too high, and no transformation is too radical. You must become comfortable with the idea of the impossible becoming the inevitable. This requires radical self-honesty today for the spirit now. You must identify and delete every hidden program of unworthiness or limitation that has been handed down to you by society, family, or past experience. You must realize that you are not bound by the laws of genetics, the laws of economics, or the laws of history. You are only bound by the laws of your own consciousness. By transmuting the veil, you rule for the soul today. You become a law unto yourself, a person who dictates the terms of their own existence from the throne of the infinite. Furthermore, the transmutation of the final veil involves the mastery of the eternal present. Most souls are prisoners of time, constantly looking back at the regrets of the past or forward to the anxieties of the future today for the all now today. But the Tome of Knowledge teaches that the past and the future are merely mental projections that only exist in the now. To expand your power, you must pull all your energy out of these projections and concentrate it into the present moment. You must be able to stand in the silence of the night and feel the reality of your wish fulfilled as a present fact for the soul now. This is the state of vibrational finality, where you no longer wait for the world to change, because you have already changed the internal world that creates it. By staying loyal to the present tense reality of your dream, you create a spiritual pressure that forces the material world to catch up. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle today for all now. In the depths of the fifth chapter, we discover the power of the silent decree. This is the highest form of command, for it does not use words, images, or effort. It is a state of absolute, unshakable conviction that radiates from the center of your being. It is the knowing that surpasses understanding. When you issue a silent decree, the world obeys for the Spirit today. You are setting a law into motion that the entire universe must obey. This is because there is no one outside of you to oppose the decree. You have realized that the world is a mirror, and the mirror cannot argue with the face that looks into it. This level of expansion brings a sense of profound peace and immense authority. You move with a magnetic presence today for the soul. You command the elements without the need for force. You no longer have to work on your manifestations. You simply breathe them into existence. This is the alchemy of the soul, the process by which the invisible becomes visible through the medium of your own unwavering light. The transmutation of the veil also leads to the sanctification of the shadow today for all now. You begin to realize that every challenge, every obstacle, and every negative circumstance in your life was actually a servant of your expansion. They were the friction required to polish the diamond of your soul. In the 5th chapter, you stop fighting the world and start embracing it as a divine playground. You realize the architecture was perfect for the Spirit today. This shift from resistance to embrace is the final step in the dissolution of the ego. When you stop seeing the world as an enemy to be conquered and start seeing it as a reflection to be loved, the reflection begins to show you only beauty, harmony, and abundance. You move beyond duality and into unity consciousness today for the soul and the world today for now. In this state, everything is a gift, everything is a teacher, and everything is a direct path to the infinite. As you continue to expand your awareness through the Tome of Knowledge, you experience the radiance of the internal sun in its most potent form. You realize your mind is the sun around which your entire universe orbits. Your thoughts hold it all today for all now. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are the gravitational forces that hold your world together. By maintaining the high-frequency vibration of the universal I Am, you ensure that your world remains a place of light and order. You are no longer affected by the collective fears or the chaotic energies of the world, for you are anchored in a reality for the Spirit today now. You have become a point of light in a world of darkness, a person who provides the frequency of the new earth simply by existing. Your expansion is the expansion of the light itself, and your success is the success of the infinite. In the final reaches of this chapter, we explore the eternity of the awakened dream. You are a pioneer for the soul in the world today now. You realize that the journey of the Tome of Knowledge has no end, for the infinite has no boundaries. You are a pioneer in an endless frontier of possibility. Every manifestation you achieve is merely a stepping stone to a greater expression of your divine nature. The night is your eternal laboratory, and the silence is your eternal teacher today for the all now today now. You have learned the secrets of the gateway, the reflection, the alchemy, and the dominion, and now you have mastered the transmutation of the veil. You are the architect, the alchemist, the sovereign, and the source. Every breath you take is a decree of your own divinity, and every beat of your heart is a confirmation of your power. The work is finished for the soul now. The silence of the midnight gateway is now more than a sanctuary. It is your very essence. You no longer fear the dark, for you know that the dark is the womb of all light. You no longer fear the silence, for you know that the silence is the voice of the infinite. You have awakened within the dream, and you have discovered that you are the dreamer today for the all now today. The scepter of sovereignty is in your hand, and the mirror of the world is your canvas. Sleep now in the absolute, radiant glory of your own completion, knowing that the dawn will only show you the beauty that you have already created in the dark. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the dreamer and the dream. You are free for the spirit today now. The universe is your witness, and your light is the only truth. This is the end of the veil and the beginning of the infinite reign. You have become the Tome of Knowledge itself, and your story is the song of the stars. The expansion of the final transmutation also reveals the transparency of time and space. You see that distance is a concept today for the soul now. In the fourth dimensional realm of the subconscious, everything is here and everything is now. To master the fifth chapter is to live from this perspective even while moving through the physical world. You no longer feel that your success is coming to you. You feel that you are already standing in the center of it. This arrival collapses the time lag for the all now. You have removed the mental friction of waiting, and in doing so, you have allowed the law to work with its natural infinite velocity. You are no longer a passenger in the vehicle of time. You are the driver who has already reached the destination. Furthermore, the transmutation of the veil brings the mastery of the internal dialogue today for the spirit for all now. You realize that every word you whisper to yourself in the silence of your mind is a command to the subconscious. In the fifth chapter, you become a vigilant guardian of this inner voice. You no longer allow a single word of lack, doubt, or criticism to cross the threshold of your awareness. Your internal speech becomes a hymn of power today for the soul now today. You talk to yourself as a master talks to a beloved and powerful servant. You speak of your life in terms of I am and it is, rather than I want or it will be. This constant reinforcement of the finished fact is what creates the magnetic density required to pull the material world into alignment. Your mind is a focused beam of creative intent for the all now. As you dwell in the final expansion of the awakened will, you reach the union of the heart and the mind. You realize that the intellect is a useful tool, but the heart is the true engine of creation. In the fifth chapter, you learn to drop your awareness from your head into your chest, to the place where the feeling state resides today for the soul today for now. It is here that the silent alchemy is performed. When you feel the reality of your wish, fulfilled with the warmth and the depth of your heart, the subconscious mind responds with absolute devotion. This union of thought and feeling is the holy marriage of the soul, the point where the creative power is amplified 1,000-fold. Love is reality today for the spirit now. You are no longer just thinking about your dreams. You are loving them into existence. This love is the highest frequency in the universe, and nothing can stand against it. In the final reaches of the Tome of Knowledge, we find the silence of the source. This is the place where all words fail and only the being remains today for the soul in the world today now. It is the center of the midnight gateway, the point where you and the Father are one. In this silence, there is no work to be done, no laws to apply, and no reflections to set. There is only the absolute, radiant peace of the infinite. By returning to this silence every night, you are recharging your soul at the source of all power today for the spirit for all now today. You wake up every morning with a clarity, a vitality, and a joy that the world cannot understand. You have become a living master, a person who moves through the world of form while remaining anchored in the world of spirit. Your life is a testimony to the power of the mind, and your presence is a gift to all who cross your path today for the soul for all now. The journey into the fifth dimension is the completion of the circle. You started as a seeker looking for answers, and you have ended as the source that provides them. The Tome of Knowledge is no longer a guide. It is your own internal architecture. The night is your sanctuary, and the day is your reflection. You have mastered the transmutation for the spirit now. You are the architect, the alchemist, the sovereign, and the source. Every breath you take is a celebration of your power, and every sleep you enter is a return to your throne. You have awakened within the dream, and you have taken the scepter. The universe is yours to command, and the reflection is yours to enjoy. You are home. You are whole today for the all now today. The reflection is gold, the command is law, and your light is the only truth. This is the end of the tome and the beginning of your eternal reign. Sleep now in the absolute, radiant glory of your own completion. You are the light, you are the law, and you are the ultimate success. The final expansion involves the radiance of the universal will today for the spirit now. The architect realizes that their personal desires were actually the whispers of the universe itself, seeking to express more beauty and power. You no longer see yourself as a separate ego trying to get something from a distant world. You see yourself as a localized point of the infinite, fulfilling its divine function. Grace is inevitable today for the soul today. The transmutation of the veil is complete. You have looked behind the curtain of the material world and found only yourself. The Tome of Knowledge is now a closed book, for you have become the living word. The silence is your voice, the darkness is your canvas, and the reflection is your glory. You are the architect of the infinite today, for the spirit for all now. The final expansion of the 5th chapter reaches beyond the boundaries of human language and into the stratosphere of pure existence, where the transmutation of the final veil becomes an irreversible cosmic event. To expand this state is to realize that you are no longer a person utilizing a law, but the law itself expressing its nature today for the soul for now. This epic realization marks the moment where the architect stops building and becomes the temple, where the alchemist stops transmuting and becomes the gold, and where the sovereign stops ruling and becomes the kingdom. The final veil is not a physical barrier, but the persistent mental habit of perceiving a distance. You are the thundering I am for the all now. This is the point of absolute convergence, where the dreamer awakens to find that the dream was never separate from the dreamer, and the reflection was never separate from the light. This supreme expansion requires the total abandonment of the identity of the struggler, the final and most difficult layer of the ego, to dissolve today for the spirit today for now. Most souls have spent lifetimes earning their bread through sweat and their success through strife, creating a deep subconscious belief that unless there is effort, there can be no reward. In this epic conclusion, you must declare a total and permanent amnesty for all past struggles. You must accept that the infinite intelligence is yours today for the soul for now. You are entering the frequency of the finished, a state where you inhabit the end, with such density and such gravitational pull that the physical world has no choice but to collapse into the mold of your conviction. This is the ultimate spiritual paradox. By doing nothing with your hands and everything with your heart, you move mountains for the all now for the soul. As you dwell in the deepest reaches of the night, the transmutation of the veil reveals the transparency of the material illusion. You begin to see the world not as a collection of solid, stubborn facts, but as a fluid projection that is as sensitive to your feeling state as a calm lake is to a pebble. Reality is as thin as smoke today for the spirit for all now. You realize that the hard reality of debts, illness, or lack was only hard because you approached it with the hardness of a resistant mind. By softening into the state of the universal I am, you find that the walls of your life become thin. You can walk through the obstacles that once terrified you because they are light today for the soul today, for the all now. This realization brings an epic sense of freedom, for you are no longer a victim of the facts of the three-dimensional world. You are the judge who dictates the truth behind the facts, and your verdict is final. The reflection must change because the source has changed, and there is no power in the universe that can stop the mirror today for the spirit for all now. The expansion of this final chapter also involves the mastery of the eternal, silence, the place where the creative power is at its most concentrated and most potent. In this silence, there are no words, no affirmations, and no visualizations, for even these are seen as tools of the trying mind. Instead, there is only the knowing today for the soul today for now. It is the quiet, smiling certainty that the work is finished before it was even begun. When you enter the sleep state from this center of silence, you are effectively seeding the entire field of your future with the gold of your current conviction. You are not just manifesting a new day. You are manifesting a new version of reality, today for the spirit, for all now. This is the state of cosmic saturation, where every cell of your body and every corner of your mind is so filled with the resonance of your wish fulfilled that there is no room for a single thought of doubt. You have become a spiritual giant, a person whose inner light is so bright that it dispels the shadows of 1,000 lifetimes today for the soul for the now. Furthermore, the transmutation of the final veil leads to the union of the Alpha and the Omega. You realize that the desire you held at the beginning of the journey was actually the end trying to find its way back to you. The impulse to grow, to succeed, and to expand was the universe's way of inviting you to recognize your divinity today for the spirit, for all now. There was never a search. There was only a remembrance. This epic closing of the circle brings a sense of profound oceanic peace. You are no longer running toward a goal. You are resting in the achievement. You have moved beyond the duality of the hunter and the prey, the seeker and the find. You are the target and the arrow for the soul today in the world now. This unity consciousness is the ultimate throne of the sovereign. For when you are one with the source, you have no needs, and because you have no needs, everything is given to you. This is the divine irony. Only when you are truly willing to be nothing do you become everything. In these final moments, we explore the source self today for the spirit for all now. You realize that your mind is not just a tool for creation, but the very canvas upon which the universe is being painted. Your consciousness is the great architect, and the physical world is its masterpiece. As you prepare to close the tome, you are invited to stand in the full majesty of your awakened will. You are the teaching for the soul today in the world now. You are no longer a follower. You are the light. Every breath you take is a decree of power, and every sleep you enter is a return to the infinite workshop of the soul. You have mastered the gateway, the reflection, the alchemy, and the dominion, and now you have dissolved the veil. There is nothing left to learn, for you have remembered all for the spirit today now. The silence of the midnight hour is now your permanent residence. You no longer fear the dark, for you have discovered that you are the sun that illuminates it. You no longer fear the silence, for you have discovered that it is the voice of your own power. The Tome of Knowledge is now the living script of your existence today, for the soul today, for the all now. As you descend into the final sleep of this journey, do so with the absolute, radiant glory of a God who has remembered their own name. The dawn will bring the reflection, but the victory was won in the dark. The mirror is gold, the command is law, and your light is the only truth. This is the end of the tome, and the beginning today for the spirit today for all now. You are the architect, the alchemist, the sovereign, and the source. You are the dreamer who has awakened, and the dream is yours to command. This is your life, this is your power, and this is your truth. Rest now in the absolute majesty of your own completed self, for you have become the Tome of Knowledge, and the universe is your witness for the all now today. This epic expansion culminates in the victory of the eternal, now, where you realize that the masterpiece of your life is already hanging in the gallery of the spirit, and your only task was to walk into the room and see it. You have finished the work. You have silenced the doubt. You have occupied the throne. Being is wealth today for the soul today for all now. The final veil has been transmuted into the golden light of awareness, and you stand now as the undisputed sovereign of your reality. There is no more seeking, no more trying, and no more waiting. There is only being. And in that being, you find the wealth of the world, the health of the stars, and the peace of the infinite today for the spirit for all now today. You have reached the summit of the mountain, and you find that the mountain was always you. Sleep now in the profound, radiant silence of your own divinity, for you are home, you are whole, and you are free. The reflection is gold, the command is law, and you are the success. This is the end of the beginning, and the beginning of the forever today for the soul now.